Gérard's Debates was a radio program broadcast on Fun Radio between 1996 and 2002. Officially hosted by Gérard de Charesnes, the show was characterized by a virtual absence of censorship and was billed as the trashiest show on the FM band, reserved for a discerning audience.
Non mais t'inquiète pas, bon, moi je commence à le voir.
Et toi, Gérard, ta conclusion,
Quoi, Gérard,
c'est
qu'est-ce qu'il y
quoi?
a?
Ta conclusion, Gérard. Gérard, c'est
Quoi?
bizarre.
Mais Gérard!
Gérard,
Gérard!
Oh, Gérard, tu reviens?
Mais y'a rien, Gérard!
Bonne nuit à tous, au revoir, à la semaine prochaine peut-être, bonne nuit à tous.
Non, Gérard!
Conclusion.
Gérard, on veut
remets
ta
ton casque!
conclusion.
Tu fais ta
Rassieds-toi.
conclusion,
Dégage ta mère.
Gérard, ta conclusion.
Fais ta conclusion, Gérard!
Gérard, ta conclusion.
Gérard!
Gérard, arrête.
Fais ta conclusion.
Qu'est-ce qui se passe là? T'as cassé la poignée?
Il a cassé la poignée. Elle est là.
Là.
Ah, bien joué.
Ah, bravo, t'as tout pété, va, bravo.
Qui c'est qui s'amuse à mettre des informations parmi vous?
In fact, the show was hosted by the Maxit La Star system team, who constantly mocked the host, even though he didn't seem to be aware that he was being mocked. Interviews with Fun Radio employees nevertheless report that on several occasions, Gérard was told that people were making fun of him, and that he knew it. During the early part of the 1997 to 1998 season, the show was broadcast every night from Thursday to Friday, between 1 and 4 a.m., and featured 2 debates per program. Between April and June 1998, debates took place in the morning. The following season, 1998 to 1999, the 2 debates were broadcast from 0:30 a.m. to 3 a.m. every Thursday evening. In subsequent years, the broadcasts were spaced out more, becoming monthly, and featured just one, significantly lengthened debate. In all, there were around 200 debates. Although the show was officially hosted by Gérard de Charesnes, it was run by the team from Max La Star System, who already hosted the daily primetime talk show on Fun Radio, as well as by recurring listeners who quickly became known as the habituals. These famous regulars, coming under various pseudonyms, irritated Gérard because he didn't want to deal with the same ones every time. Even when he kicked them off the air, they would come back later in the same debate under new pseudonyms. The much appreciated atmosphere of the debates was often heated and rowdy, but always in the register of derision, except for Gérard, who thought he was hosting serious debates. Some of the show's hosts would send out sound bites during the debates, which they themselves prepared in advance, using the words of Christine, his first girlfriend. Other sound bites included the voice of Apolline, a switchboard operator on the show whom Gérard didn't like very much. At the end of each debate, there was the ritual conclusion of the debate, where each speaker expressed his or her opinion, often negative, on how the debate had gone. This was followed by a quick round on IRC, where a few opinions from internet users were given on air. Among these was often the conclusion of an internet user called Turpentine, who invariably declared, "Your debate had neither head nor tail, just like you," often leading to an incisive response from the animator. The topics of debate were varied, sometimes recurring, such as the theme of truck drivers dear to the host's heart, and often revolved around social phenomena, cell phones, insecurity, the transition to the euro, the 35-hour week. Topical issues, sometimes sporting, such as the Olympic Games, Formula One and the Soccer World Cup, or societal, such as bullfighting, strikes, paparazzi or prostitution. Married life, marriage, single people, age differences, life as a couple. Sexuality, pornography, obsessives, virginity. Philosophical notions, intelligence, humor, beauty. Astronomical, space, the stars, the solar eclipse of August 11, 1999. Esoteric, mediums, marabouts, astrological signs. Some of the topics debated were totally eccentric and offbeat: vacuum cleaners, elevators, supermarkets, lookalikes, bugs and yellow underpants. In addition to the main topic, the title of the debate, listeners took pleasure in provoking Gérard by regularly bringing up topics that were forbidden on the air.
Je dirais moi-même en faisant, n'est-ce pas, quelque peu partie, je dirais, eh bien, tant mieux, cela nous promet beaucoup plus de putes et de cocaïne, n'est-ce pas?
Bon, alors, monsieur Mazur,
Oui.
j'ai déjà dit tout à l'heure qu'on parlait pas de ça, je vous dis bonne nuit.
Attendez, monsieur
Bonne
Gérard,
nuit, allez.
excusez-moi, je
Bonne
comprends.
nuit, bonne nuit, monsieur Mazur.
S'il vous plaît,
Monsieur
laissez-moi
Mazur, au
m'exprimer
revoir.
dans le calme et
Manu,
le respect de la
tu
courtoisie.
dis à monsieur... Non, au revoir.
C'est-à-dire, n'est-ce pas, je pensais...
Manu, tu lui dis
je
au
pensais
revoir.
que c'était donc...
Tu lui dis au revoir.
Écoute.
Tu lui dis au revoir.
...dans lequel chaque pensée...
Manu, il faut le mettre.
Bon,
Attendez,
alors,
ça y est, Gérard.
C'est terminé, tu le sacs. Terminé pour lui.
Gérard raye un nom.
Alors,
Aussi, je me demande bien...
Oh,
ce que
Manu
ça peut être, bien
Manu,
Il revient.
tu le sacs.
La jet set.
Oui, Manu.
In particular, Gérard didn't want anyone talking about Carol and Christine, two former companions, especially in the wake of the rumors Christine had spread on the air. He also didn't want the speakers to talk about Sandy, even though he was in a relationship with her, as she was the object of insults and mockery from them, not least because of her obesity. These rumors were subsequently taken up by the speakers during the debates. Other controversial topics included the Sonacortre hostel in Nantes, where Gérard lived, his surname, and La Locomotive, a nightclub in the 18th arrondissement of Paris where Gérard was a regular. These subjects often arose from unfounded rumors. Without touching his person, the mention of the Alma Bridge, or, more generally, the disappearance of Lady Diana, generally provoked Gérard's wrath. These included Tony, Goldo, Arnett, Megain, Arnold, Luigi and Caramel, a pseudonym used by various listeners, including Max himself. Although their voices were barely concealed, in most cases Gérard didn't recognize them, which made for some humorous radio moments. Host Arnold, a recurring interpreter of Monsieur Mazur, went on the air under the pseudonym Trevor Jones, Lady Diana's bodyguard, and speaking French with a strong English accent, would crash many of the debates and repeatedly say a Mr. Cousin to greet Gérard, which had a way of infuriating the latter. Indeed, he absolutely loathed having his surname mentioned on air.
Hello? May I on radio?
Oui, vous êtes sur Fun. Bonsoir, Trevor. Gérard, parle-lui, oh.
Bonsoir, la fréquence où vous appelez, putain, mais il est anglais. Non, là je vais pas pouvoir prendre un mec comme ça, moi c'est pas possible.
Vous parlez un peu français, Trevor.
Ah oui.
Voilà.
Allô?
Bonsoir.
Oh non, terminé, allez hop. Au revoir. Allez,
Gérard, non, mais attends.
Non!
On a fait des pieds et des mains.
Non, allez hop.
Pour la voir,
Non, j'en ai rien à foutre. Non, laisse tomber, allez. Ouais, c'est bon. Au revoir.
Mais écoute.
Gérard, on est
putain,
ensemble depuis qu'il est arrivé.
Oui, allô.
Mr. Cousin?
Oui, c'est monsieur Cousin, oui.
Ta gueule, toi, PD!
Là, il traduit.
Allez, hop, terminé, au revoir. Hop, au revoir!
What?
Attends.
Oh merde!
Gérard, on est 2 fois plus nombreux depuis qu'il est arrivé sur IRC.
J'en ai rien à foutre, tu fermes ta gueule, toi, je vais dire au revoir! Hop, terminé!
Attends, on s'est
Non!
pris la tête, j'ai pas l'écouter. C'est dans les
Bon,
gaules.
moi, j'arrête le débat! Putain de merde! Tu le dégages!
D'accord.
Putain, Max!
C'est Max, il...
J'en ai rien à foutre!
Monsieur Cousin? Hello?
Trevor?
This is Trevor. Monsieur Cousin. You hear me?
Gérard,
Hey!
si tu veux que j'essaie de discuter, traduire.
Non, ça m'intéresse pas, donc...
Ah, mais si tu peux traduire, oui, ce serait bien que tu puisses traduire ce que dit Trevor rapidement, oui, vas-y. Monsieur Trevor, allez-y, commande, girl.
Hello?
What do you want?
Is there someone to translate?
Do you want to fuck me? Yeah?
To?
Yeah.
To fuck who?
Yeah.
Allez-y, monsieur Trevor, allez-y de vous.
Yeah. Parce que j'ai problème, le mâchoire.
Yes,
Oui, on le sait, oui.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I wanted to say to Monsieur Cousin,
Yeah.
if
Monsieur Cousin.
he wants to
Cousin.
sell his car.
Voilà, et hop.
De quoi? Qu'est-ce qu'il a dit, Cosette?
Il t'explique en fait qu'il est tout à fait d'accord avec nous que c'est un sujet de médias. Hein.
Oui.
Voilà, et c'est vraiment un assassinat pour lui. Hein.
Ouais, bah peut-être, bon, on s'en fout.
Because Monsieur
Ah.
Cousin.
Bon, c'est la dernière fois que
I'm very interested.
in buying
Oui, donc c'est très
a
intéressant.
car, R14, R14, Monsieur Cousin.
Voilà, votre sujet est très intéressant, Monsieur Gérard.
J'ai acheté R14.
Merci d'R14.
Oui, monsieur Trevor. Merci beaucoup.
450 francs pour la voiture de Monsieur Cousin.
C'est une affaire, c'est une flambie mobile.
Bon, Manu, je sais pas d'où il vient. Je le remets encore une seule fois, je me casse.
It often happened that the radio show's own team members, such as Phil Dar, Manuit Rigo, Olivier de la Prod, Apolline, and Annika, left their posts to take part in the debates from the station's premises. Some of the debates featured celebrity guest appearances, sometimes right in the studio. Jean-Luc Delarue impersonated his own lookalike, as did Florian Gazan, during the lookalike debate. Fred, from the duo Omar It Fred, also took part in a debate. Arnold, former Fun Radio host, and Max were more frequent contributors. On October 30, 2002, during a debate on hazing, Gérard got carried away and uttered "AIE Hitler" close to Heil Hitler on air, to the amazement of the technical team. The crew reprimanded Gérard and asked him to apologize to the audience, which he did immediately, but to which he added the enigmatic "Bon entendeur salut" for those who didn't understand what that meant. Manu, the producer, cut the program immediately, just as another debate was about to take place and the current one was drawing to a close. The sanction was immediate and without appeal. The host was definitively ousted from Fun Radio, and Max would never speak of Gérard again on the air, with the exception of a brief tribute the day after his death from cancer in 2005. During this last debate, Gérard, in his own words, had banged his knee on the radio table, hence the pun "AIE Hitler." This is confirmed on the recording of the show by an on-air silence a few seconds before the incident. Then we hear the team laughing as Gérard hurts himself trying to get up from his chair. The memory of Gérard de Charesnes and the debats to Gérard live on, thanks to the many digital recordings, edited, collected, filed, collected, often set to music, Gérard's remixes, some of which were broadcast on Fun Radio at the time of his debates, and distributed on the internet by the community of his many listeners in mainland France, as well as in Belgium, French-speaking Switzerland and the French-speaking Maghreb. On April 20, 2006, a tribute program dedicated to Gérard's debates was broadcast on Radio Campus Paris, bringing together the usual guests and most of the radio program team. Max, for his part, finally mentioned Gérard in the diary section of his official website in September 2006, and put a few sounds and videos online before the site closed. A second radio show was dedicated to him in May 2013, on the 8th anniversary of his death, on the web radio Les Sales Girls, on the initiative of Manu and Rigo, two former members of the debates team. In 2016, a group of fans decided to set up an online fund to donate a monument and a proper plot in the Desertine Cemetery for Gérard, in memory of Les Debats. One thing is certain, this program was a real UFO in its day. Indeed, it was hard to imagine that such a program, skillfully alternating Gérard's screams and the incisive retorts of the usual listeners who had been selected for the quality of their repartee and puns, the chases between Phil Dar, Manu and himself, the throwing of objects that fell into his hands, ashtrays, Coca-Cola bottles, shoes, etc., and Phil Dar and Manu trying to avoid the projectiles and blows as best they could, laughing like hyenas, the remixes and other parodies making even more of.
Saloperie d'hier de vouloir m'embrasser sur la bouche. Tiens, tu te mets comme ça, tu te mets un doigt bien profond dans ton cul, espèce de... Quoi?
J'aimerais bien si c'est le tien.
J'en sais rien.
Non, Gérard, je t'interdis. Je t'interdis sur elle, je te l'interdis.
Attends, tu vas pas me l'interdire parce que c'est une... D'accord?
Ah non, c'est bon, stop, Gérard, là tu vas trop loin. Là c'est une...
D'accord?
Stop.
Alors maintenant, tu vas fermer ta gueule.
Le pitbull autour du foyer Nanterre.
C'est Nacotera.
T'as besoin de le dire?
Mais ça existe. Mais non, mais je croyais que ça existait pas. Mais arrête, Gérard, je croyais que ça existait pas.
Oh, qu'est-ce que tu lui as fait?
Je te dis, ce soir, tu vas pas me casser les couilles, toi.
Ah, excuse-moi. La gazeuse.
Il a mis de mon lacrymo.
Non, c'est pas de la bombe.
C'est quoi?
C'est du parfum Bic. T'inquiète pas, ce soir, tu y as le droit.
A mockery of this unlikely host, could have worked for so long. In the end, it was a unique adventure that lasted some 6 years. While some will see it as nothing more than a cruel farce that went on too long, since in the end it was a gigantic fool's dinner in which Gérard and those close to him were the perpetual targets, it was also an occasion for great laughter for many listeners, and even if it seems obvious that such a trashy, offbeat show could no longer exist today in any country whatsoever, Gérard's memory is kept alive by many on the internet, since the debates can still be heard on YouTube and other dedicated sites, provided of course that you speak the language of Molière, even if the main character had great difficulty expressing himself properly, alcohol not being a speaker's best friend.